Hello everyone, I hope you're doing well today. My name is Mitch Fox and I will be presenting a PowerPoint regarding the ethics of video gambling and the casinos that host them. A prime example some of you may be familiar with is the video slots at the Seminole Hard Rock Casino. It is my sincere hope that if nothing else you leave here today with the idea that an alternate perspective exists. Before we start, it's good to have a definition of gambling, just to develop a basic understanding of what it is. The word gambling is associated with the following elements: an uncertain, arbitrary event, a wager, something of value, is deliberately chanced on a particular outcome, a winner and a loser. The winner wins at the direct loss of the other gambler or gamblers. During this presentation, there are some questions that might help lead you to a new plane of conceptualization. Is gambling indeed harmful or just an innocent way to pass time? Is it a good source for funding good causes such as education? Is it just a decent way to earn a little extra income? Is it beneficial to the community as a whole? Does it present itself as a recreational activity or a serious moral problem? You may not have to be, but I am personally a Christian, so for the purposes of this presentation, I will be approaching this topic from a deontological perspective of absolute right and wrong. During my life, I have heard some pretty weak arguments against the activity of gambling. Here are a few. Gambling is wrong because the Bible teaches us that we are to work hard for our money. While this is true, we're supposed to work for our money to make a living, but you know that if that argument is taken at face value, it would also condemn someone giving you a gift. But that's not right. We aren't wrong for accepting a gift. We help poor people. We help people in need. But are they wrong because they accept money from a friend or a church and they didn't work for it? Of course they're not wrong for that. Or someone might say gambling is wrong because of the risk factor. But gambling isn't wrong just because of risk. Risk in and of itself is not wrong. Even life itself is a risk. When you get in your car and go to work in the morning, you are taking a risk. Being a Christian is a risk. When a farmer plants his crops, he is taking a risk. But none of these things are wrong. Risk is not what makes something sinful. While the Bible does not have a direct verse that says, "Thou shalt not play video poker," there are verses that can be related to the ethics of gambling. The following are arguments one can make from the Holy Bible as to why gambling can be considered wrong. The first reason is because covetousness. Just ask yourself, what is it that motivates men to gamble? Think about that for a minute. There are two things that come to my mind. One of these is greed, and the other is covetousness. In the Old Testament, under the laws of Moses, one of the 10 Commandments was "Thou shalt not covet." That means to lust after, long for, or desire something that belongs to someone else. Exodus 20:17 says that you shall not covet your neighbor's house, you shall not covet your neighbor's wife, nor his male servant, nor his female servant, nor his ox, nor his donkey, nor anything that is your neighbor's. Now what about his money that's on the table? How are you going to sit around the table and gamble over a poker game without violating this passage? Luke 12:15 warns, "Take heed and beware of covetousness, for one's life does not consist in the abundance of the things that he possesses." Now why is gambling wrong? Because of what it motivates men to do. Here's the second reason. Reason number 2. Gambling preys on the weaknesses of others. Christian principles teach just the opposite of this. Christian principles teach as we have opportunity to do good to all men. Consider Galatians 6:10. Therefore, as we have opportunity, let us do good to all, especially to those who are of the household of faith. That would involve helping those in need, not taking their money. Christian principles tell us to help the poor and feed the needy. Gambling is just the opposite. It steals from the poor and robs the hungry. Typically, the busiest day in Atlantic City, New Jersey casinos is the day after welfare checks are cashed. That would generally demonstrate that these people are in the casinos hoping to hit jackpots. It would seem that a disproportionate number of the people gambling are very poor. In some cases, parents may take food out of children's mouths by taking their assistance monies to hit the casinos. One study found that those in the lower income class bet 3 times the amount than that of a person in the middle or upper income classes. The state lotteries in Connecticut and Massachusetts were equivalent to a state sales tax of over 60% on lower income groups. It is hereby evident that gambling preys on the weaknesses of people. It profits from the pain of others. Here's the third reason that gambling is wrong. In the Bible, Jesus laid down a test by which every activity, every philosophy could be measured. Matthew 7 verses 17 through 18 reads, "Every good tree bears good fruit, but a bad tree bears bad fruit. A good tree cannot bear bad fruit, nor can a bad tree bear good fruit." This verse may be written in the context of false teachers, but certainly there is a principle here that can be transferred to other activities of life. Let's pose a question. That question is, what kind of fruit does gambling produce? When legalized gambling arrived in a new community, does it raise the moral standard or lower the moral standard of that community? Does it help lessen the hardships of the families in that community? You may find just the opposite of this. Gambling doesn't pass the fruit test. 8 months after opening casinos in Gulfport, Mississippi, police noted that crime significantly increased. After casinos arrived in Atlantic City, New Jersey, the city went from 50th to 1st in ranking of per capita crime. Here are some startling statistics from that city of Gulfport. Murder increased 75%. Rape increased 200%. Robbery went up 311%. Assaults were elevated by 64%, and it doesn't stop there. Burglary went up another 100%, and car thefts a startling 160%. Now let us consider Las Vegas, Nevada. That granddaddy of all casino strips and the largest gambling forum in the United States. You may be surprised at some of the following statistics. The following table represents some astonishing facts about Nevada. It is first in rapes and homicides committed against women. They stand fourth in rape and fifth in overall crime, among other negative things. The Bible teaches us many things. Of these, here are a few different versions of Proverbs 13 verse 11. The King James Version reads, "Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished, but he that gathereth by labor shall increase." Vanity is equated to emptiness here. In another version of the same verse, it reads, "Wealth gained hastily will dwindle, but whoever gathered little by little will increase it." There is a footnote that reads, "Hastily" may also be interpreted as "or by fraud." Another reason video gambling can be considered unethical is due to its addictive nature. You have to ask yourself why a person who wins will generally continue to bet. It is due to the high and good feeling generated by winning. It is only natural to want to continue that feeling. People who lose also have a tendency to keep betting because they want to win back what they have lost already in betting. The following odds are interesting to consider. You have a better chance of dying from a lightning strike than winning a jackpot. One is more likely to die from flesh-eating bacteria than to win a jackpot. You have greater odds of dying from a snake bite or bee sting than winning the jackpot. And here's a good one. If you drive 10 miles to gamble, you are 20 times more likely to be killed on the way than to win the jackpot there. Occasionally, you may hear someone argue in favor of gambling due to the good it can bring for schools that rely on the funding. This is simply not true. A well-known newspaper columnist illuminated a study that found social problems created by gambling by far outweighed any potential benefits. In fact, the gambling enterprise costs taxpayers like you and me $3 for every $1 of state revenue that is collected resultingly. My friends, it has been my pleasure speaking to you on this controversial subject. I will place it upon your shoulders to make your own decisions, but please make them well informed and in considerations of others. I bid you good day and goodbye.